Hey everybody. So, just wanted to give you a quick update. My teeth are in the graduation state. They're nice and even. Today was pretty much my final retainers for at night only. I still have to get used to not having them in all day. I still have my old ones, so more than likely I probably have to wean myself off of them. But in the meantime, I finally was able to have a success with a Invisalign. So hopefully, I can pronounce some words a little bit better. Um, and let's see, graduate school is going pretty well. I have one more week and then I start my next class. I guess graduate school is a little bit different than undergrad. It's kind of like one class at a time. And you just have to keep a certain grade point average, of course. I think 3.0 or 3.2 is the minimum, and then if you get anything above that, well, then you get more classes if you choose to finish out the program. I'm actually working on one of my discussion boards now for um, sourcing or making like your works cited page and stuff. So they kind of gave us like the exercise to go through and use. Um, Other than that, I'm doing okay health wise. Thankful for that. Now, my back, on the other hand, that's another story. Um, I just started going to the chiropractor um, this week. Today was my second visit. And pretty much my back is like a S shape. So, sclerosis, I believe is how you say it. It's like my upper is going towards the left and the lower is going towards the right. So instead of it doing like a C curve shape in the back, which is normal, it's doing what it wants to do. On top of, I guess my pelvis is twisted. So my left is more forward and my right is more towards the back. So it's like twisted and that's also possibly causing pain. Of course, when he did like the evaluation, he kind of explained that it possibly could have came from the injury that I had at work, but with backs, it's kind of hard to tell. I may have had it, before, and then that was the trigger once that happened, and pulled in my neck and everything. So I ordered this pillow type thing that does like all three layers of your neck. And you have to do it by increments. So I should get it by tomorrow sometimes. Um, and try to get that to get my neck back in order. And then there's different exercises that I have to do to try to strengthen my lower mid back area. So, one day at a time with that. Besides having pain and trying to get realigned, um, that's pretty much what I go through on a daily basis. Even though I don't complain about pain, it's pretty much like the norm for me. I think I've had pain very off and on in my life, I suppose. I had pain in my foot for the longest, but I didn't really, talk about it as much. And then I had surgery and got that taken care of. And that was like a 10-year span of, suffering from the Galen cyst. Um, then from there, it was, the endometriosis and the fibroids surgery that happened. And that was pretty much a nightmare for that. But considering after getting a better doctor who actually knows what she's doing and to be on a better care plan for me and what works for my body, I haven't had any bad flare-ups, I should say. I've had some flare-ups, but they weren't as bad as previous. Um, and I'm thankful that I went through it, got through it, and at the end of the day, God was still there, still, keeping me safe and alive. Um, I actually just got off the phone with my mom more recently. She was talking to me about um, my braces and things like that, and how certain people would say like you have the money to do stuff, but that's the thing. When you have the money to do it, you do it. When you don't have the money, you don't do it. When you're trying to get the money, you're saving so that you can do it. The difference is that the mindset is you are set on a goal to get it done. Like my mind was set on a goal to get U of M paid off. It got paid off. And so did Kaiser. And so did Oakland Community College. And so many other schools that I had to pay out of pocket for. But it's one thing to have a goal and not execute it. You can talk about having goals all day long, but if you are not looking at those goals and setting a time limit for yourself, or a time that you want it to be completed, more than likely you probably won't be successful, because you probably won't fall through, or you won't, you know, accomplish it, because you might do something else, and then that'll be at the end of the list, or you'll just keep brushing it off and not addressing it. Sometimes it's better to address things that you have going on and make it a priority to prioritize what's important and what's not. And a lot of times people don't do that. They don't pick the most important things. Instead, they do everything else that's not important. And then when the important stuff start, kind of hitting them in the face, now they trying to figure out what they should do. How about address it while it's fresh, and then say, okay, my goal is to complete 2 things this month. And then once you complete them, cross that off. Then you move on to your next 2 or 3 items until you pretty much can execute all 10 items off your list. I kid you not, like, my goal was to get into a graduate program or do something while I waited either for medical school or PA school. Of course, I did some reevaluations on what I wanted to do and what I liked doing, what I was good at doing. And so I said, well, if I don't get into medical school, there's PA school. If the chances of me not getting into PA school when I want to get into it, what else can I do? I know I'm good at computers. I have a computer information system minor. Originally, I was going to school to double major in biology and computer science. Now, mind you, I would have been in undergrad for a long time, because both of those degrees are like 5 to 6 years. And, people always say undergrad is a 4-year thing. It's a 4-year thing if you are doing no breaks. That means that you are going fall, winter, spring, summer. And you're knocking it out for the next 3 to 4 years. You have not took a break. You are taking classes after class to get it done in 4 years. But normally the undergrad programs are a 5-year thing. Now, if you're transferring from your associates, from a community college, and you've gotten your associates, you might have like an additional 2 or 3, if that, because you've probably knocked out a lot of your general classes. And some of your prereq courses may have also been completed while you got that associate's degree. There is also, the challenge of after you graduate from undergrad and you go back and you start doing some of the post undergrad classes to try to get into a graduate program. Sometimes you can take prereq courses that are required for that graduate program. Sometimes you might just need a graduate level course. Either way it goes, I had a goal. I said it. I thought about it. And health informatics has been like that thing. That thing that I've had on the back end, like way back in my mind. And so I said, okay, I gotta do something while I'm trying to get into PA school. So why not? So I looked at a couple programs, and it was out of Northwestern and Grand Canyon and Spring, Illinois. I believe was Springfield, Illinois. They had an informatic program as well. But for some reason, Grand Canyon seemed to just be the one. It was kind of like that with Kaiser. It was like Kaiser and a whole nother school. And for some reason, Kaiser stood out. And I went. Teachers were awesome and great. Got all A's in that program for a medical assistant. And right now at Grand Canyon, thanks to two folks that have been helping me, and I really have to give a shout out. So I'm not going to say their names, but you guys know who you are. I really appreciate you guys. And that's for anybody who's helped me with writing my papers or editing my papers or just giving me suggestions to fix it and make it better, to be a better writer. I really appreciate that because it is a challenge for keeping my thoughts together. I don't talk about it much, but I do have supposedly ADHD or ADD. And some years ago, I had tried to do medicine to keep my focus and to keep me on one task at a time. And my brain is more like it has to keep going. It has to do multiple things at the same time. Even if I don't complete the first one, if for some reason it makes sense to me and somehow I get all of them done, it just is out of order. It's very chaotic. It's very it's just a lot of moving and constantly thinking about stuff. And so I have my moments when I just need to be quiet, and I try to quiet my brain down from thinking and stressing. So anyways, some years ago I had tried to do the medicine. Did not work for me. It made me feel like a zombie. I felt horrible and sick. And I was going in, college. I think this was my third, fourth year. I don't even remember now what year I was in college, but I was in my undergrad and I just felt so horrible. And I said to myself, I am going to do everything that I can do to stay focused. If it means that I have to write everything of my thoughts down on paper and we figure it out by talking to other people to make it make sense, we will do so. So I made the decision to, after I talked to the doctor a few times, that it wasn't working for me and we were going to do something else. So I started doing vitamins. I started to do massage therapy. And I started to exercise more, which of course I've gotten out of it because of me having to work 1,000+ jobs. But I did everything to try to get my brain to say, hey, focus on just this right now. Stop trying to go over here and do something else. I could literally be washing clothes, forget that I'm washing clothes or cooking, and start thinking about paying a bill. And that's one reason why I didn't like to do a lot of cooking, because it takes a lot of time to keep my focus and my attention. So I said, okay, we have to focus on one thing at a time. So if I'm going to cook, it has to be peaceful and quiet and no drama. And I have to do it on my own, and I have to like literally take my time and read the instructions so I can get it right. Then I moved on from there to, okay, let me do laundry. I can do laundry and I can do something else. Or if I did laundry first and then I would do cooking or whatever else I needed to do. But my thing is that my writing has always been all over the place. Sometimes I've had the worst comments about my writing because it was all over the place. And I wasn't even diagnosed quite yet with ADD or ADHD. And it was like, wow, really? That's what we doing? And yeah, sometimes criticism is not my strong suit at times. Um and I still a work in progress. I am. I'm a work in progress when it comes to that. But because I take it to heart, and I want to do better, and I want to be better than I was the day before and the day after and the day beyond that day. Um so I think that was another reason I decided to do informatics. It's because I know I can focus on a computer for X amount of time. I know that I can work on different projects without feeling like I'm overwhelmed with something. Um, it's also another reason that it'll help slow my brain down some, because I have to actually read the instructions. I know back when I was in school, it would be the basic stuff, okay, people? The basic stuff. And I would miss one sentence, not even knowing that I missed it. I done went through the entire process and I cannot get this to work. I'm like, what is happening here? I have did all the instructions. What is going on? And then, my friend would be like, you missed this one part right here. It said do this, this, and this, and then it should work. I kid you not, I would go back, do that part, and it would start working. And I'm like, what? Okay, so I really need to slow down because my brain is like, doo-doo-doo-doo, real quick, right? I said, we got to slow down. So I think that's why I decided to do this program. It's gonna show me how to slow down, really, when processes are being done, so that I don't miss anything. Because sometimes I miss stuff. Same way with my writing. I write, and I might miss something, or I might be on point that first half, and then somewhere at the end, it's like, what are we talking about now? I done drifted off to something else in the space. Like my brain just was like, we gotta talk about this real quick. And then we get back to the subject in a minute. So yeah, so sometimes you gotta learn to slow down. Slow down. That's it. Just slow down. So when you make lists and goals, slow down. Do one at a time. And complete them and execute them. Execute them like This is it. We getting to the finish line. Let me focus on that one thing first. What is it I want to improve in myself? What bill I want to tackle this month? And focus just on that. Slow down. You don't have to be in a rush. Even people on the roads, I be like, listen, what's the hurry? You're already late, so what you blowing for? Why you upset? Get you some music and listen to. Chill out. You gonna get there. Don't try to kill somebody else because you late. Don't be trying to rush and cut somebody out because you upset that they driving slower than you are. Maybe their car is messing up. Maybe they just want to drive regular today. Maybe they just want to do the speed limits. What's wrong with that? Go around them. That's why they made 3 lanes. They didn't make it for you to stay behind somebody that you didn't want to be around or behind. They made it so you could move over. Same way with merging traffic. I don't understand. Why do merging traffic try to race when you trying to get over? Why are you trying to do the same speed I'm trying to do and I'm trying to get over? I don't get it. I don't understand. What we doing? Slow down, people. The flow is not to race or to be the same speed as the person that's trying to get over or the person that's trying to get onto the highway. The thing is, it's a pattern. The pattern is, if I'm driving slower, then I'm going to maintain my speed so they can get over if I can't get over to the other lane. I'm not about to speed and try to be the same speed as the person trying to get over. I'm going to slow down. The people who are trying to get onto the highway, why are you trying to speed up and you see my blinker on and I'm trying to get over? You should be either slowing down so I can get over if you don't have enough time to pass me. So I can get over, because at the end of the day, we all gonna still get at the place at the same time. It ain't gonna change. It's not gonna make you faster. What you might get 1 or 2 minutes added to your speed time because you were speeding majority of the time to get to work or get where you were trying to get to. Sometimes you gotta slow down. You know what made me start learning how to slow down? It was some years ago. I had just started undergrad. I think it was my 2nd semester. And it was ice on the highway, and I was coming from Pontiac. And I had to drive all the way back to Flint. And I'm on the highway. I kid you not. I don't even think I told my mother this story. I was in my neon, and I think it was God and angels or something, because my car did a 360 in the middle of the highway. In the middle of the highway. And I kid you not, when it stopped facing incoming traffic. And my car was this close away from the little bar thing that's on the highway. And you know, the sign that was behind me was that Jesus picture. And I'm sure y'all probably seen it on like certain documentaries. And it's literally I think it's 475 or whatever you want to call it, that highway before you get to 75 further down. And I just was like, God, you must have been with me that morning. And it wasn't even that I was speeding. It was that I was trying to slow down. And for whatever reason, my car hit a patch as I was trying to get into the middle lane to get over to the slow lane. And it hit that patch and it was over with. Like, it was just spinning. I don't know how many times it spun. But when it stopped facing incoming traffic and only a few inches away from the bar that, you know, kind of like help you so you don't like fall off, you know, into like a ditch or something like that. And I said, God, you was watching over my car today and me. Because it could have been worse. And it was a semi truck coming towards me. But of course, all that traffic, I don't know what happened, but that traffic was so far from me that I was just like, God was there. And, and even, I say this, even in 2016, God was there again. I had drove about 24 plus hours to Florida with my dad in the car who, has seizures or whatnot. I drove and I had work that day, probably like 9 hours, and then I had a delay with the car situation, trying to get a rental car. Couldn't get the rental car, so I had to go to my mom's house in Detroit to pick up with what I am driving currently now, the Traverse. But at the time, I still had, my Ford Fusion or whatever. Um, and I kid you not, I went and met up with a friend that's out there in Florida after I had did my graduation, and I probably should have went to sleep, took a nap, something. But I went, because I hadn't seen them in some years. They had, left from Pontiac and family had moved back to Florida. So I went, linked up with them, went to the beach, left my sea shield there. I was so sad about it. Man, it was a beautiful night. I kid you not, a beautiful night out in, I think it was Saratoga, I believe it's the beach that we were at or the area that we were in. And so I had left from there, dropped them back off. And I'm, headed back to the hotel. Mind you, I am tired. My body is tired. And I don't know, it was God because I ended up running off the road that night. I remember I was woke, and then it seemed like I must have closed my eyes or something. And then when I woke up, the next thing I remember is seeing a sign and pretty much running off the road. And I think I had tried to get to like the rest stop area just to try to get my composure. For some reason, I kept missing it, or I was just not in the right lane, or it was just like always something happening. So, anyways, so I runs off the road, miss the sign to the exit, get into like like a little slump. It kind of goes into a ditch and then back onto the road, and then like all of these police like pull up and like sirens and everything is on, right? And so then they're like, turn the car off, and they're just like, what's going on, and type deal like this. And of course, you have those pedestrians that decide to be instigators. So she, pulls over and she's like, yeah, like she was driving all crazy and da 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 da. So, he's like, ma'am, where are you trying to go? And, I'm not familiar with Florida. I'm like, I'm just trying to get back to my hotel, which I was trying to get back to Fort Lauderdale. I was somewhere in like Orlando. I don't even know where I was at. Like, I went to like a small town out in in Florida somewhere, and I was trying to get back to where my hotel was. Now, I probably had been driving for over 36 hours at this point. And so, anyways, he's like, well, do you know where you are? I know I'm in Florida. I don't know exactly where in Florida because I'm trying to get back to my hotel and I have my GPS on to show me how to get there. So, anyways, he's like, well, now it's mosquitoes in my car and just all types of random stuff, right? So, I kid you not, I was like, are we serious right now? Like, we cannot be serious. So then he's like, well, can you get out the car? So I get out the car. He's like, can you do, he has me do like the line and all that stuff. So I do the line fine. So then he puts the flashlight in my eyes and he's like, oh my God, like your eyes are dilated. Like, when was the last time you went to sleep? I'm like, probably like Wednesday, Thursday. I've been driving from Michigan for like the last 2, 3 days. So he's like, all right, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to take you to a rest area where trucks normally, park their cars. And I'm going to have you rest there, get some sleep. So I do that. I'm like, okay. So at this particular time, I'm going through a breakup. So we're like pretty much separated. We staying at this time. We're staying in the same, spot, but we're separated. Anyways, I end up calling him and I'm like, "Hey, can you stay on the phone with me so I can at least find a gas station?" I was like, "I think something is going on with my gas thing, my line. Like, I don't see how much gas I got in my car. Like, nothing is working." And I was like, "I don't know what's wrong with it, but I had like a little accident, kind of, sort of. And I need you to like kind of just be on the phone with me so I can get to at least somewhere so I can rest because I don't like this area." So I waited until like all of the police had kind of cleared out and it was just black. Wasn't no cars on the street. I waited for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. So they were like, "Yeah, what's going on?" I was like, "I just need you to stay on the phone because apparently I fell asleep and almost had like a car crash." Which, the officer was like, "You were super lucky. Like, I don't even know how you survived that. Like, you could have died," type deal. I don't know how I survived either, but I just thank God that I survived and he was there to kind of guide me in the car without it getting tore up into pieces and me injured, you know, injured seriously. So, anyways, I drive to like this gas station. I think it was a Speedway, and I end up, like going into the back seat and going to sleep. So I slept until about, I don't know, 6 something in the morning. So I, filled my car up because I'm like, I don't know if I got gas in my car, but I'm gonna fill my car up, and when it stopped, I guess it's full. So I did that, and so I ended up calling, my dad and telling him I was on my way. Like I had a little error, and I had to like take a nap somewhere else. So he was like, "Okay." So I get back to the hotel, we check out, and then before we leave Florida, I end up saying, "Let's go to Walmart because something is going on with my tire." So, we go to Walmart. They like check the tire. They like, "Yeah, it's a little slowly, da da da." So they like put some air in it. And then the guy noticed that something was unplugged underneath. So he plugged it back. And then all of a sudden, my gas hand started working. Everything on the dashboard started working. And I was like, "Thank you, God." Because I got to get this car back to my mama safely, okay? We can't have no issues. And I think it was like the back piece or something was kind of like a little loose, but I think eventually they ended up like kind of tearing it off. But yeah, so like it was no scratches, no nothing. Got the tire together. And so when I think we got to like North Carolina, somewhere around there, North Carolina, South Carolina, somewhere. We was like between the Carolinas, and it was like, whoa. And my dad's like, "Nina, if you get tired," I said, "Yep, I know, Daddy. If I get tired, I'm gonna pull over and take a nap." So it took us a little bit longer to get home because I had to take some naps because doing a 36 plus no sleep was not good. Especially being the only driver that had to drive from Florida back to Michigan. And don't get me wrong, I like traveling and driving and all that stuff, but it was like, what? I did that and made it back safe. I thank God for that. So yeah, so literally I really had to learn how to slow down from those instances, those things that happened. Um and those are just examples. Like, you have to slow down. You can't be always on the go and always on a rush and always having an attitude and always being angry about stuff, because it's not gonna get you nowhere. It's not going to do anything differently for you. It's going to do the same that it did the day before. You're gonna still have the same issue that you had the day before. So why not just try to make the best out of it and slow down and just do what is good for you, and not try to make what's good for other people, because not everybody's gonna do how you do. Not everybody's going to be like how you are. Not everybody's going to like what you do or how you do your process. So just be mindful that everybody is different. Everybody has a different process. Everybody does things a lot differently. But if you are compensating with other people and they can't compensate back with you, then you just need to let it go. Move on. Leave them alone. Keep a keep a distance for real and go from there, really. So, it's like you have to just be who you are and don't care what nobody thinks about you, whether or not they like you. Because there's going to be a lot of people who don't like you because of something that you're doing. They might be jealous of you because of something that you are doing. But don't let that discourage you. Don't let that make you, feel any different about yourself, because you know who you are. They might not know who you are, but you know who you are as a person. You know that you're genuine. You know that you work hard. You know that you do everything that you need to do for it to make you a better you. So, at the end of the day, keep doing what you gotta do.